The fire that is happening, Deal Road in Cherry Hill Township, at the old Eastern Orthodox Complex commercial structure fire. A number of fire companies are there. Josh Woodison is as well, and he'll be reporting from the fire scene at 8 o'clock. Matt Lewis will handle the news at 8. All right. Let's visit with Bob Pollock this morning, and Bob Pollock of the Extension joins us each Friday at this time. Our visit presented by Marcus and Mack, voted best law firm and best personal injury lawyer 3 years in a row in the Best of Indiana County contest. Visit them online at marcusandmack.com. Morning, sir.
Good morning.
It's good to have you with us. If you want to call and ask Bob a question, you can do that, 479-1160 or 349-WCCS. And, Bob, if they do, there's a set of headsets right there. You can
I see that.
listen to them.
I can grab them, too. We had 2 calls last week, by the way.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What? Nice. So go ahead and call. This is the time of the year when we really get serious about talking about blight and late blight, early blight, all the different blights that can attack those fungal diseases that come riding the storm waves. And we certainly have had the rain and the storms and the fronts moving in and moving out. And it would seem that this is the time for it right now. We should be spraying, right?
Yeah, things are, if they haven't been already, they will be ramping up for that unless we have a significant weather change soon.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, those, especially in the vegetable realm, those diseases will be very, especially early blight and septorial leaf spot. Some of the bacterial leaf spots, one's called bacterial speck and the other's called bacterial spot, but pretty much the same effect. Those things with with the weather conditions and patterns that we've been continually having, those things are going to be around.
Now, I have 7 dozen tomato plants. And on 2 of those plants, at the bottom of the plant, I've got some yellowing leaves with some spots on them. Is that something of a concern?
Probably early blight. That's the most common thing that'll happen and starts at the bottom of the plant. Rarely does it start up on top of the plant or in the middle of the plant. It usually is on. And why is that? Because those leaves are closest to the ground. Those spores will be shot up from the ground, and so they hit those leaves first. Oftentimes those leaves are shaded. They're down in the canopy, they're down in the base. You might have other plants in rows beside it. So those lower leaves get shaded for longer, so when they get moist from dew or rain, then they'll stay wet longer. Okay. And then typically that's where we'll see the fungus start, where we have that moisture there, the spores can land on the leaves, and then because there's moisture there, then those will germinate. So
I should panic and close the show now and run home.
Yeah. Probably don't have to do it that quick.
Okay.
As long as you do it today. But, and on those leaves, you can, usually the plants have enough growth, they're up 2, 3, maybe even 4 feet tall if you have them staked.
They're gorgeous.
You can pinch those leaves off, get them out of there. Don't just pinch them and leave them lay there, because then the spores, the fungus is still there. So we need to collect that, get it out of there, and that'll help limit the spread. And you're not going to hurt the plant by removing that foliage off of there. Other crops, if you had some of the brassica family, whether it be cabbage, broccoli, cauliflower, hopefully those, especially the broccoli and cauliflower, hopefully those are maturing by now, because all this hot weather, they don't really like that too well. So they'll start to decline pretty quickly this time, especially now that we're in mid-July. And then we need to be getting ready for the next round, so that you can plant your fall crops of those. And they tend to do better in that fall window anyhow. So you need to be thinking about, if you are going to do that, and cabbage is the same way. You can plant all those even, from now into August, and then get a nice fall crop off of those plants. But typically you're going to have to start your own seed to do that.
Yeah.
Because the transplant season's pretty much, those are gone. Most of the places that have transplants sell them in the spring, and then that's done.
Yeah.
And then any succession crops that you want to plant, you need to have the seed and get the seed started. And in some of those, you can direct seed them. That's an option too. You don't have to necessarily grow those transplants, in flats or inside or, in another location and transplant them. It just, depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. But either way is acceptable, whatever fits into your growing system.
I usually do a second go of beans, green beans.
Yes.
Since the first go got in so late because of how wet it was, they're not going to be producing for a while yet. And so I want to get that second go of beans in probably before the first go comes off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to have to make some
You might,
space.
you might have to. Normally, you would have had those all harvested, and those plants would be declining, and or you'd rip those out and replant in the same place, maybe.
Which is what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this time around, this year, that may not work.
How
You may
late-
not be able to wait.
How late can I
And
go?
well, go back to the varieties you're growing and what it says on the packet as far as days to harvest. Is an 80-day crop, a 90-day crop, 60-day crop, and then gauge it based on that. Now, that's not an exact thing, but it's a typically whatever that variety is, whatever that plant is, those days to harvest, that gives you a good window or feel for about how long it's going to take, how many weeks it'll take for that to mature and make a crop.
Yeah.
It might be a little more, it might be a little less, gauged on the weather conditions, growing conditions that you have to do it.
And those plants probably at some point will have to be covered when they get late in their cycle because the frost will come in late September, early October.
Yeah, maybe.
All right.
Maybe. Who knows?
All right. So
That's always the game we're playing, in the spring, how soon can you get it out and what's the risk there? And then the same thing's true in the fall.
But that's okay.
We know it's going to happen. It's just when.
There are other areas where they don't have those concerns.
That's true.
But then there are other areas where they have more concerns than we have here.
Yep,
and
even
they don't
shorter.
have that opportunity.
No, that's right. They get one shot at it and that's it. So we're fortunate that a lot of crops we can get at least 2 cycles in. And there's some others you might get 3 in.
Well, we have fair season coming up, and I know the Indiana County Fair is asking folks to get ready to submit their exhibits, their entries. So it's about that time when we turn toward August, which is not all that far away.
No, it's not.
We begin to think about those sorts of things and what we can do with our gardens and we begin to think about late season flowers too.
Right.
Fall mums and stuff.
Yes.
Of that nature. Not quite time because we're still at the height of summer, but it goes quickly, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does go. Time marches on, and it won't be that long. I mean, those plants, those mums are growing now. The growers are, they've got them planted and they're growing, and they've got to be on that cycle to be ready.
Wanted to ask you a question.
Same
about
thing with pumpkin season.
a holly bush that I have that I found this holly bush. It had been discarded, but it looked, and it had been discarded early in the spring, but it looked like it was still, it's plenty green and everything, and it takes a lot to kill a holly bush.
It usually does.
So I put it in down in the yard. I put that thing in last week, and it looks like it's okay. Is there anything special I would need to do for it? It's been neglected. It's been basically out in back of a shed on a pile, but it still looked good. So I thought I'm going to plant it and see what it does. Anything I need to do with that? Can you feed those? Do you need to?
Oh yeah, you can feed those. You can go easy on it, and you can incorporate that into the ground ahead of planting, or you could use a fertilizer dissolvable in water, and so occasionally haven't needed to do much watering. I mean, that's if you're looking at trying to come out of it with advantages of having a wet season, you haven't had to do a lot of extra watering so far this summer.
Yeah.
So that can be a positive. But when you do water, you may, and you probably saw the root system on the plant, and how it was looking. But yeah, you can just use a liquid fertilizer, and you don't have to do it every time you water. But if you've planted it in a place where things seem to grow and the soil conditions seem to be pretty good, the only thing usually they like a slightly acidic soil. So as long as you've got it in that range, that's going to be very helpful to holly plants to.
Yeah. I put it
have
down by
that
the ornamental
correct.
grasses. I don't know if that was a good place to put them by the ornamental grasses,
maybe.
but they do well there.
And is it going to be a smaller holly, or is it going to be one of the ones that potentially can get pretty large?
I'm going to make sure it stays small. I'll
Okay.
trim
Yeah.
it up.
And yes, and most hollies are pretty
Yes.
like we'll take shearing and pruning to keep them in size.
Yeah, they don't mind that. They don't mind that. All right, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's Indiana in the Morning. It is WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, WCCSradio.com.